Freaky Friday. How are we doing, everybody? Moving the chains. We're back at it. Eagles, Cowboys last night. We had a rain delay, spit and ejection. 10 minutes in the game. Eagles, Cowboys, bitter rivals. They hate each other. It's Raiders, Chiefs. You talk about bragging rights, emotions, flying high. You felt it last night in Lincoln Financial Field. And the Eagles got the dub last night. I want to touch on that game. I'm recording this. I got the Chief game going on upstairs in my bedroom. I just had to get on here and talk about what happened last night. And then I also want to touch on Belichick, who just... God, he's a bitter old son of a bitch. Jiminy Christmas. I'll touch on that. So first off, Eagles defend their title. They put the banner, but they didn't, electric. But man, the Eagles last night... excuse me, they just... I've said this for years. They do a lot of stuff that shitty, lousy teams do. Beat themselves, bad opportunities, just stupid shit. Like penalties when you least expect it, slipping the banana peel. Just stupid shit. And I'm just, the Jalen Carter thing, listen, man, that could not have been a bigger impact lost in that game than that guy. Because, and they were talking about this last night on the broadcast, he's their guy now. Because, listen, he was a big contributor last year in the Super Bowl run, and he was. He was dominant as I've ever seen a guy come in the league. Excuse me. And he dominated last year. I mean, that Super Bowl, the playoff game against the Rams, like, this guy dominated. And I saw it every game that I could watch with the Eagles. Because they were a marquee team last year. They represented the NFC. However, that was a dumb, stupid act. He needs to grow up. I really thought when the Eagles took him, because there were a lot of teams bidding for him. Let's not forget. The Raiders, the Seahawks, all these teams wanted him. And I believe this to be true. You are who you surround yourself with. And I thought Jalen Carter learned his lessons. Because if we all remember in college, he got in the accident where he killed some people, driving reckless, being stupid. Then he had the combine. We all get it. He was a little squirrely in college. Okay, so the Eagles took him. He had all of his boys around. He had Jordan Davises and the Ringos and the Kobe Deans and the Nolan Smiths. And I'm like, okay. Maybe this guy's turned the corner. He's not going to fuck up in Philly because they got Hall of Fame leadership guys, Lane Johnson, Brandon Graham. Don't fuck around business. And what do you know, last night, Jalen Carter reverted back to his old ways. And it's funny, I was talking to my therapist tonight, and she asked me, because she's not much of a football person, but I kind of filled her in. And I said, and she goes, what the hell was that about? And I said, I don't know. This guy, I filled her in all the bullshit he did in college. Went to the combine, got arrested, had to get bailed out of jail. There's guys that, like, you think aren't shitheads, but they are. This guy's a shithead. Now, he's a talented shithead. Hopefully he learns his lesson, gets out of his own way. And I was just disappointed. The Eagles last night, they were not buttoned up the way the Super Bowl team should have been buttoned up defending their title. They were sloppy last night. Emotionally out of control. Again, it's a rivalry game. I get it. The taunting penalty, I'm just watching it, and I've been saying this with the Eagles. They're just trouble, but they're talented. And they're trouble because of the coach sometimes. He gets in his own way, and he's puffing his chest, and, he's jockeying with the fans. It doesn't look good. He had that shitty first press conference, which I'm not going to make much about because Dan Campbell's, we all thought, was eye roll. And he's turning the Lions into perennial power in the NFC. Probably them and Philly right now, the two best teams. Mike Kesnick knows that as better than anybody. But I just watched the Eagles last night. And Jalen Hurts, man, listen, I might not love him sometimes. He's kind of not Mr. Smiley. But it works. He's got stoic. He's kind of like Dak Prescott. In that kind of vein, like just kind of composure and mentality and grinder and obsessed and wants to do well and does whatever he can for the team. He's not a selfish player. He'll do whatever has to be done to win that football game. He has to complete 10 passes, he'll do that. If he needs to complete 25, he'll do that. And you can rank them wherever you want in the quarterback hierarchy. I can't argue with what I've seen. But got to be better in the passing. A.J. Brown and him got to be on the same page. But, hey, man, as long as you got that offensive line and you got Saquon, he's got the best. He's got a Ferrari in front of him in an offensive line. He's got every toy in the book. And Howie Roseman's the key behind this roster. And that's why they're talented. They're so talented that sometimes we can look past that because they're so troubled on the field. You got A.J. Brown reading self-help book. You just got all this other distraction shit. But winning is the greatest perfume of all time. So, congratulations to the Eagles. They got the dub in a tightly contested NFC East kind of battle. I figured it'd be all night long. But congratulations to the Eagles. They got the dub. So, talented but trouble with the Eagles, just to recap. But I can't get that image out of my head of you spitting on a guy. And maybe Dak started it. I don't know. But that was alarming last night. Very selfish, stupid shit from a very good football player last night in Jalen Carter. I'm going to touch on the Cowboys because, excuse me, if CeeDee Lamb doesn't drop that deep ball, Dallas wins that game. I know hypotheticals and all that, but I can't blame it on Dak last night. And I've been kind of iffy on Dak. He's fine. You know, he's kind of like Jalen Hurts, very good at the podium, kind of has that Tua vibe. Like, we like him, but he's kind of overpaid, but, he's okay. He's probably in that 8 to 12 range quarterback, not top 5. But Jerry, he did this to himself. He paid him, whatever. But you know what? With Dak, I feel like I'm getting Jalen Hurts kind of light. Very mature, very grown up, gone through a lot, had to deal with Jerry's nonsense. He's kind of had to carry the Cowboys at times emotionally and I get the Cowboys, big brand, the star. I get all that. But, he's overcome cancer. I lost my mom. Shout out to my mom, Mac. I got it right there if anybody wants to see it. He lost his mom to cancer, so I kind of relate to him in that sense. Very good dude. Locker room guy. Really loves him. Pretty good football player. I like him at times more than most. I think he's a little overrated. Got to do more in the playoffs. But, be that as it may. I thought he played well last night. And what impressed me was this Dallas maligned offensive line was killing it last night. Now, I know Jalen Carter, he was out, no question. That did play a part, and I'm not disputing that. But that offensive line with Tyler Booker in there, that new center in there, kind of shuffling around. It's not like when Dak got in the league when he had, an established rookie Zeke Elliott that was dominating. You had a Zach Martin, you had Tyron Smith, you had Travis Frederick at center, Wisconsin Badger, baby. You had a seasoned offensive line that had been there, done that, and kind of Dak got to walk into that situation. Probably the best that a young quarterback could have. But it's kind of been reshuffled a little bit the last couple of years. Zach Martin retired, Tyron Smith retired. He went to the Jets, but, he was more of a Cowboy than anything I'll remember him by. And last night, they did a good job. Dak had a lot of time to throw last night. I don't even think he got sacked last night. I mean, I have to go back and watch the go read the box score, but I don't want a box score scout, but I don't think he got touched last night from what I saw. So, very good in that regard. And, Dallas impressed me last night. They were buttoned up. They for being a rivalry game, outside the first 10 minutes, whatever. Dak didn't, do anything dumb. I was thinking about this tonight on my way home. He's one of those quarterbacks, like a Derek Carr. I got no worries about him. He's not going to do stupid shit. He's a married man. He's got, some kids. Not my ideal. I like my life. But I think, Dallas was better than I thought, and we crushed Brian Schottenheimer all offseason. His dad obviously was Marty Schottenheimer. Chase Mathis knows that, being a Chiefs fan back in the day. So I just have a feel that, and I don't know how good Dallas is going to be. They're going to be a decent team this year. I think they're going to be a fourth-place team. I predicted that before the year. But I do think they're going to be competitive. They got guys that can play. Dak, CD, Pickens made plays last night. That the running game looked really good last night, which was non-existent last couple years. I know Zeke, they brought him back. Kind of a pity deal, whatever. He was all over the hill, done. They brought in Miles Sanders. They brought in Javonte Williams, who my brother knows. He was a North Carolina guy. I remember him in 2021. Had that great year. Then he got injured and all that. But I will say this. Dallas is going to be better than people think. Now, I don't know if they can continue this like they did last night. Now, the second Eagle game, we'll see if Jalen Carter and the suspension and all that We don't know. But I was impressed with Dallas last night. Like, I was thoroughly, like, I went in, come away going, they were the more buttoned-up football team last night. But Philly, I would take Philly's roster over Dallas's. But I can't go away if I'm like an outsider watching that game going, man, Dallas, like, they're playing hard. They're well coached. Like, they very little penalties last night. So I was impressed. I came away impressed, and they could be better than I thought. Last but not least, so just to recap, the Cowboys better than I expected. And I already touched on what I discussed with the Eagles. I got to say this, because I saw a headline today that, listen, I've been critical of Belichick. You guys know me. My dad's like, don't be an asshole. Before I got on here, I kind of made a low blow about, he's dating a 24-year-old. I thought he'd be a little bit more, a little bit more happy and smiley. But I didn't want to take a shot at him. But I will take a shot at this, because the whole 40 transfer thing, and then, he's got all these kids, and it looks like a weird fit. Him in college, and he's never liked college. It's just always been weird to me. But today really got me. So he won't even allow the Patriots scouts in the North Carolina facility. So if you're a New England Patriots scout who's like getting talent and, director of player personnel, you can't even go to North Carolina. That bothers me. This screams a guy that has had it so easy. I'm not saying easy, but like he's had a pretty damn good life. And you're just bitter? Bill, look in the mirror. You got fired. It happens. I've been let go from jobs. It's happened to everybody. Even in football, I just don't get it. And it always fascinates me with guys, and I'm a guy, that I don't get the guy petty thing. That drives me crazy. Because, and I heard this years ago, I'm not trying to pick on women, but guys, we're compartmentalizers. We're great bullshitters, right? We can, I call you an asshole, and 5 minutes later we're cracking a beer, right? And some women hang on to shit forever. That's just how I've heard it. Norm Marowski said that years ago. But I just look at Bill, and I don't get it. Maybe I'm just old school. I just don't think he's going to work. I hope it works out at North Carolina, but I don't. I've been a critic from the start. So that's all I want to touch on here tonight. I'll give you guys my reaction tomorrow to the Chargers game. And then Sunday, just a sneak preview, I'll give you guys my college football, Oklahoma, Michigan, big games tomorrow. And we're rocking and rolling, baby. I got content coming out all the time. Stay tuned. Adios. Freaky Friday. Godspeed. Out.